Hey, look out. It is the Tuesday edition of Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
And I'm Morgan Hill.
Dan, why are you chuckling? Why are you chuckling?
Because I see on the screen they're talking into a tube there, and I'm not sure
Yes,
what's going on.
It is a strange tube. It's an amplified tube.
Not a microphone anymore. It's a glob.
Oh, my.
We've got Sherry Lavigny, who is Morgan's mom, on the show. Sherry, how are you?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm doing good. I had a name for you. You know, I usually like to give names. It was Sherry Baby, but I'm tired of that one. I'm going to call you Sherry Life's a Beach Lavigny. What do you think about that one?
I like that.
Sherry likes the beach Slovenia. Okay, that sounds good to me.
You like that?
Sure.
All right. Awesome. Well, it's good to have you. It is Tuesday. Is today Cinco de Mayo?
It is.
All right, Dan. What does Cinco de Mayo mean?
It means the 5th of May.
The 5th of May.
Yeah.
All right.
I thought it meant something else.
Do we want to know what you thought it meant?
Can I say it?
I don't know. It depends. Do we have a dump button, Dan, or can we
I don't know.
not afford that?
Then maybe not.
Okay. We'll pass then. Well, it's good to have you. Cinco de Mayo, I guess we should eat Mexican food?
Yes.
Is that the deal?
Yes.
Everything Mexican that you can think of. How about that?
All right. Ratcliffe's are going to eat where tonight, Dan?
I don't know. That's a good question. There's so many that hopefully are open now. Hopefully, if you're listening, open. Stop being closed. Not that I'm
Huey Louie's
saucy
is
about
open.
It. All right. Huey Louie's. Huey Louie's it is then.
That's a chicken place, isn't it?
No. That's Mexican.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Did you see the utter look of disdain she just gave you?
Chicken.
She was so disappointed.
Anyway, so everybody enjoy Cinco de Mayo. We thought we'd put Sherry on the show. It is our birthday, by the way. It was 6 years ago today. Dan and I turned on the microphones, and ratings have taken a dive ever since, haven't they?
They've plummeted ever since, yes. Now, are we sure it's 6 or is it could be 5? I mean, who honestly knows?
I think it's 6.
Is it 6?
I think
okay.
it's 6 years.
Right.
6 years ago, they gave us the show. We had no idea what we were doing. They didn't tell us what we were doing. We just opened the mics and just started talking.
Well, and they had no idea what they were getting into either. So
I think they figured that this would not be a long-running show. I think they thought, give them 6 months, maybe a year, 2 years, if they couldn't fill that with some teaching and talk ministry.
They never knew the wild popularity that would be Faith Talk Live, and especially when Sherry Baby or Sherry Life's a Beach Lavigny comes on the show.
I like that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And who knew that our third banana would be Morgan Lavigny Hill? There's a hyphen in there somewhere.
Lavigny hyphen Hill. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I love that.
This is Hill.
Mrs. Hill. Mrs. Hilly. We'll just call her Hilly. Hilly for short.
Hilly.
Anyway, what we thought we would do is we'd get Sherry and Morgan to interview Dan and I in the next segment. Since we've been doing this so long, we've had, what would you say? We've had definitely hundreds of guests. I wouldn't say thousands. Would you? Would you say thousands?
No, I wouldn't say thousands. I'd say hundreds.
Hundreds of guests. Yeah. We've had some great guests. We've had some not so great guests.
We won't mention any names.
I will. I'll mention names. I'm going to mention names.
Uh-oh.
At my age, I'm almost 60. I'll be 60 in 2 more months. So at that point, you can say pretty much anything you want to.
Okay.
This month, Dan turns 50.
I do.
And when we had him on the Zoom there a little while ago, he was taking a paper and fanning himself. He's going through menopause. So if you have any tips on menopause, call Shamso, 404-995-73.
Menopause.
Well, I am on the beach here,
beach.
so the beach is kind of warm right now.
That's true. All right, well, let's do this. Let's talk a little bit. We don't want to spend a lot of time on this wedding, but we want to get kind of Sherry's perspective of it. I understand it was a pretty awesome event.
The wedding of the century.
The wedding of the century.
Yeah,
I'm just wondering, did you notice that they were slapping each other as they were standing?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, that's just a ritual in our family. You're supposed to slap your spouse.
Oh, is that like
With
a tribe?
love. That was a love tribal.
If you're listening and you work for law enforcement, I do not abuse my husband. And that is not a ritual in our family.
We need to ask Dalton that question.
Well, when there's a bug on you, you have to slap it off. That's just the way it rolls. So,
well, it's interesting because
bugs allowed.
at this wedding, there was not only a spider, but also what? Scorpions, frogs,
A plague of frogs.
mule deer, and a couple of giraffes showed up at this wedding. I'm wondering what's the deal. At what
What
point
was
do you
it, the Lion King? Was Simba getting married, or
Savannah.
anyway, what did you enjoy most about the wedding, Sherry? What do you think? Did you cry at all? Are you a crier?
I did cry. I actually did cry. I wasn't when they walked down, when Brian and Morgan walked down, I did not know I'd be walking up with them to the
Yeah.
altar. That was like a last minute thought that Morgan and her daddy decided to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that took me by surprise, but it was really special. It was neat to be up there, as he was handing her over to her future husband,
Aw.
and to become Mrs. Hill. The day was just the scenery, just the simplicity of it, and the frogs. I mean, they just went ballistic when
Yeah.
They were trying to sing the Hallelujah chorus, is what they were trying to do.
They really were. It really reminded me of The Little Mermaid. When they're in the boat and
Sha-la-la-la-la-la, my oh my.
yeah, that's what went through my head.
Well, I prayed that there would be a flock of frogs to show up since I couldn't make it. And
There was.
obviously my prayer was answered. So how did Brian do? Did he cry at all? Because if I were
Oh, yeah.
Brian, if I were Brian, I would be a puddle because I'm
He
a
was.
very emotional man. So he was a
He
puddle
was
as well.
very emotional the whole week.
Oh, really?
Really?
Oh yeah.
Well, that could be because he had to pay for the wedding.
Yeah, or
Well, that day was pretty much free.
or he could be going through menopause.
It could be.
Well, I made the mistake. Well, not really a mistake, but I sent him. We went ahead and did our daddy-daughter dance and the mother-son and first dance that day as well. But I kind of sent him 2 songs and told him to pick his favorite out of both.
Freebird,
And-
was that one? Freebird?
Yes, that was mine.
that was Freebird was one. But
Twist and
that
Shout was the
made
other
me
one.
cry. Yes, they
What-
really
what- What was the song? I'm sorry. What would you say?
got
You don't remember?
dance. Dance with My Daughter is the one that we ended up doing, but Cinderella. But yeah,
Stephen
that
Curtis
was
Chapman.
the other one.
You- Wow, that's a classic song. Were you even born when that came out initially?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I was. I was like
Yeah.
7.
That's a great song. I had all boys, but that made me a little emotional, that song as well.
That
Hey-
was the first song I ever saw him get emotional to. We were on the way to school
Yeah.
and it came on the radio, and that was the first song I ever watched him get emotional to in the car. And I remember that as a kid. So that was why it was on the list. But then the Dance with My Daughter song fit a lot better. So we picked that
Yeah.
song.
That's awesome. We can't wait to see the pictures. Now, okay, we've got one down and one to go, right? So the day that Cody gets married,
The Golden Child.
Yeah.
will there be the same type of emotions, you think, or will it be thank God it's over?
Thank God he finally got married.
No, I don't know. I think it'll be emotional. It's really cool how the dynamics of our house are. I mean, we're all really close, but Morgan and Brian have just that father-daughter bond, and then I've got that mother-son bond. So it's going to be, it'll probably be a little bit a different emotion. I mean, I was emotional with Morgan, but with Cody, it'll be a little different.
So Morgan, you
Golden
just heard
Child.
it.
The golden
You
child.
just heard it. He is the favorite, at least of Sherry.
No,
So.
that's not what I said. I love my daughter.
Now,
Just
should
Cody a
I
little bit more.
should I start praying now for the frogs to show up at that
Yes.
wedding, or
I don't
should
think frogs will be at Cody's wedding. He's going to
Morgan's
be on
trying to
a
figure that one out.
mountaintop somewhere.
I feel like Cody would be the one that would just get married in a different country and we
Yeah.
wouldn't even know about it. He
Yeah.
would just
You know,
come back married.
I don't even know Cody, and that's what I felt as well. That he
That's
seems to be that
possible.
free spirit. Just
Some
give
girl
me.
he just met 2 days ago, or
no,
No,
No.
it would be a little while,
Okay.
but we wouldn't necessarily know about her until the wedding day.
Okay, what advice would you give? I would say your brother, but what advice would you give to the bride to be on that day, whenever that will be? Morgan, what advice would you give her? Maybe to warn
knowing
her.
your brother the way you do.
Do what you want.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
Wow.
seriously. Well, I mean, like,
I thought she was filtering, but it just came right out.
Like, what was that?
well, I mean, like, in regards to the wedding, do? Are
I think
you?
he meant
Oh,
advice.
okay.
Oh,
like,
advice
Yeah.
for Cody?
for
No.
her-
No, for
Advice for
her,
the bride to be. And that's a great advice because that's one we always give when we counsel young ladies that are marrying. We say, just do what you want because it's your day. You're going to remember that forever. If somebody
Wedding day.
takes over, every time you see the pictures, you're going to go, oh, that's the day that I was made to do whatever.
Yeah.
So that's great advice. Sherry, what would you give the bride to be since you're the mom of the golden child?
I would tell her to do whatever was what she dreamed of doing. So it's her wedding.
All right. So if she wanted live yaks there and everyone to wear,
Yaks it was.
Was
and,
she
and
like from a nomadic tribe?
We'll
yeah,
have a yakety kind of wedding. So.
there you go. Yakety yak.
Yakety yak,
Don't come
talk
back. All right. Well, let's do this. Let's take a break, Dan. And then since we're celebrating our birthday, see, that's where this show goes when a Lavigny
cheers.
gets on the show.
Mhm.
We're going to take a break and we're going to be right back. Sherry and Morgan are going to ask us questions about our show that we've been into. It's almost like a prison term. About 6 years now, Dan and I have been both roomies together. We'll be right back. It's Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
And I'm Morgan Hill.
Stay right there. Hey, look out. It is Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
And I'm Morgan Hill.
It is Tuesday, Cinco de Mayo, and not only Cinco de Mayo, but this is the day that they gave Dan and I the keys to the studio and said, you guys get in there, open the microphones, and just do what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And we've pretty much done what we want from the very beginning. Well, almost. There are some things we wanted to do, which I think if we had done them, we'd be arrested today, but that's a whole nother story. We've got Sherry Lavigny, Sherry Life's the Beach Lavigny with us. And she's on her way to the beach later on this week, so we had to nab her before she got sand in her sandals. And then Morgan Lavigny hyphen. What's that?
She's leaving us for Mother's Day.
Well, that's what she should do.
I'm doing what
It's her
I
day.
want to do. That's
It's
right.
her day, not
her
your
day.
day.
My
That's
day.
right. So Morgan Lavigny hyphen Hill on the show. We're going to get them to ask us questions to interview us. Very rarely, if ever, has anyone interviewed us. Maybe Tiana years ago when we were doing some recordings,
Right.
but no
not
one
live. Yeah.
no one ever asks us about
No one
us.
wants to know anything about us. That's what you're
Who
trying
cares?
to say.
We're just washed up talk show hosts. That's all we are. But anyway, we'll do that in a second. All right. 6 years ago, I vaguely remember the first show, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that we had Toby on, I think it was that month, a few weeks.
It wasn't long after we started.
Which was pretty huge for us to get Toby Mac. He was amazing. He was probably one of my favorites. So genuine and talented. And I think I know I brought my two boys in, and you brought, who did you bring in? Do you remember? Was it Joshua and Kaylee, not Bethany?
No, I don't think they were there. I don't remember, honestly.
I think we had, and we did some type of, we threw some kind of promotion just last minute because we found out last minute, hey, tell us why you would love to meet Toby Mac in the studio. And we brought somebody in because
I remember our cohort, Chad Davis, was there, and he's the one that Toby Mac has a restraining order against.
Yes.
So he had to stay at least 10 feet away from him, but that was fun.
Yeah, but it was a great show. Your favorite guest, you think, Dan, before we get into their questions?
Favorite guest? Wow, that's hard. There's so many.
Should I ask you your least favorite then? Let's
no,
go there.
You should not ask me that. I'm not going there. Some of there's favorites that we've had on several times, like Anita Renfro and Ken Kington is always fun to have on. Bone Hampton. Anybody that makes me laugh usually will be up there because I love to laugh. Yeah,
Dan loves the comedians. I mean, we both do, and I think we really flow well with most of the comedians that are on there. But we have a lot of great musicians. We have had some great pastors that have come on and just kind of let their hair down and just had fun with us. So I got to tell you, while we've been doing the Zoom, I thought the Pastor Brian Bloy interview was very, very funny.
Yeah.
And then he was serious too, in the sense of that he gave some spiritual advice to those struggling during this pandemic.
Yeah,
so
we need to have him on again.
Let's do that. Let's make him a regular. We'll just flick Morgan and put him on as the the third pastoral. No, we would never do that. All right, We've got a few minutes. So who's on first? Who wants to start with the question?
Talking to the tube there and
Morgan,
asking questions.
talking to the tube.
Okay, so let's see. Since this is just off the cuff, what is what is one of your most memorable moments on air?
Mm.
And don't say Wally walk up, please. He's not allowed to be on this interview.
Wally would be up there for sure.
No.
I'm still having nightmares when Wally was on the show last. The most memorable, Dan, go ahead. I'll have to think about that for a
sure.
minute.
Throw me under the bus.
Yeah, there you go.
Golly, most memorable. I'd probably have to go back to Toby. That was definitely just playing games with him and having him kind of be off the cuff as well. That was fun.
Did we have anybody that almost made us cry? There was, I mean, we've gotten emotional over there was somebody, but I can't remember who it was. Somebody that had
I thought that was me.
Yeah, that was you. Yes. We were crying because it was like, why did we make this decision to put her on the air? I don't know.
No, but seriously, somebody who does get you to that point because he is so emotional himself is Jim from Atlanta Mission.
Yes.
Jim Reese.
Yes,
because he gets so emotional about what he does and he's so invested in that. So he's always awesome to have on.
I would say, that's you rang the bell there. Awesome. Speaking of bell, I used to ring a bell. For 2 years, I would ring a bell when I thought something was really good. And we had people that loved the bell. Then we had people that just hated. Anita Renfro hated the bell.
Yes, she did.
And finally, I retired it. And I don't think the bell will ever come back. All right, next question.
What's your 5-year plan?
5-year plan.
To still have a job in 5 years.
Thank you, Dan. I think our 5-year plan would be to continue to have great guests, and that we would love to be more on the tech side, where we could bring people in on the monitor behind us, so that way we could, if somebody's in Nepal or somebody's in, Wood Schiller's in, where's he? He's in another country.
He's close enough to Nepal. He's in Wisconsin or Minnesota or something like that.
Wait, wasn't he going to Japan?
He is going to go to Japan. You're right.
Yeah. So somebody like that, we could bring him on and just say, hey, here he is, and just be to where we could get more guests. Sometimes it's difficult to get people in the studio, and I understand that, but this would be a great way to get more people. What do you think, Dan? You just want a job, don't you?
Yeah, I want a job. I would agree. Maybe kind of change up our studio to look a little cooler than it currently does. If we can ever get back in the studio, COVID. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, definitely, I would agree with the whole tech thing and being able to bring people in via video more and just do more with video. That would be cool.
Yeah. Next question. I think do you have time for one more, two more, what?
We got about 3 minutes left here.
All right. Maybe
two. So looking into the future, I know you got a goal to keep a job, but what would you say would be your motivation? What kind of influence do you want to have on the people that watch?
Good question.
We want to have, I think, first of all, we want to, I will get to something spiritual, but I think first of all, I want them to see that we're just regular people, and we love people, and we enjoy hearing their stories. And we want to encourage them just to continue to move forward in whatever they're doing, and also to just go after Jesus with all their soul, no matter what challenges. But I think, in all that, we do some things that people are like, oh my God, I can't believe, is this a Christian station? It's not that it's off color or blue, but we bring our lives into what we're doing. If we listen to a Beatles song, we're not afraid to say, hey, I don't just listen to Christian music. I like to listen to the Beatles every now and then or whatever, or watch this particular show. Like when Dan was watching Stranger Things, well, in some arenas that would be poo-poo. They'll go, oh my God. Mm-hmm. But I think the reality of just our lives, bringing that, and people can be encouraged and not stop, just keep going, just move forward.
Yeah, I would agree. And kind of along that lines is just to be able to show that Christians can have fun. We're Christ followers, but we like to have fun and we like to laugh. But at the same time, we like to highlight what folks in Atlanta and around the world, but especially in Atlanta, are doing for the kingdom and how they're running after God. And it's a lot of times it's things that other people don't know about unless we bring it to light. So
and this is going to sound cheesy. But Dan and I really don't take ourselves that seriously, in the sense of that.
Can you tell?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I mean, we could be aloof and say, hey, I mean, you know, we're on talk show or we're somebody, but we're just like, hey, we're just like real people, you know.
Mhm.
So there's no pretense, at least I don't think.
Did you say we could be loofahs? Is that what you said?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we could
Kind
be
of scrub people
on a string, on a rope. Sure. One more question. We have time.
Real quick question. Yeah.
Real quick.
How has having the show impacted you as a person? How has it affected you? What have you learned from it over the past 5-6 years?
I got an answer. Dan, you start.
I've learned how to be kind of more off the cuff and have fun. For years, when I was on the air, I was on the air alone, usually sometimes with somebody else. But I've learned, and I think I knew this already, that I love being on with somebody else that I can play off of more.
Yeah, that's good. I agree. I could do it by myself, but I don't think it would go as well. Dan's just is perfect. There are times that I'll be thinking something and he'll just do it. He'll just say it. And we've not discussed it beforehand. We really flow together. We think the same things are funny. I think we have the same passions, the same heart. And it was by accident because I didn't get with Dan and say, hey, let's do a show. They actually said, hey, you guys do a show. And it just came out of us. So I think we've learned to work together. And I think we've really grown. I think we've really matured, even though we've both been in the business, you know, well over 25, 30, for me, 40 years. So, yeah, it's been cool.
All right. We got to wrap it up here. We got another
Thank you,
interview coming
guys.
up,
We love you. Sherry, baby, have a great time at the beach. And we look forward. Yeah, we look forward to the next wedding, and hopefully we'll be a part of it. Right, Dan?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, yeah. All right, we'll be right back. We're going to take a break. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
And I'm Morgan Hill.
This is, sorry, say it again. Do it again.
It's okay. It's your show. I'm just here.
Oh, wow. Hey, it's Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
And I'm Morgan Hill.
And the lady beside you?
Sherry loves the beach.
We'll be
Something
back.
like that.
We'll be back.